Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. Thanks for joining me. Today we're going to do a video on a foundation that I am so sick and tired of seeing. I have seen this thing on my social media, on Instagram, YouTube Shorts. I have seen this so much that I thought to myself, I need to try this dang thing and see why people love this so much. Why is it so popular? Why is it number one? See if I even like it and actually buy this with my own money. It's not something that was sent to me, so I thought we'd turn the camera on. I do have plans to leave the house here in a little bit to go do some errands, do a Costco run, and I'm going kid-free, so I figured I can do some check-ins maybe on my phone or kind of do some check-ins for myself and kind of do some notes and then share with you in the description box a wear test note section on how this product wears for me as I'm out doing what I need to do today. And so I'm just going to kind of roll with it. I turn the camera on, and this is not a normal filming day for me, but I figured why not? I have this on my desk. I've had it for a while. I bought this during Amazon Prime Day because it was on sale, and I was kind of torn between the shades, and we'll get to that in a minute. But this specific thing, I know you've seen this, okay? Let's just talk about it. It's the TirTir Cushion Foundation, okay? I picked this up. As I said before, everybody's talking about it. It seems to have such positive ratings. I knew that this looked really great from what I have seen. It looks like a product that provides extreme coverage, full coverage, and it looks beautiful on every single person that has demoed this that I've seen. So I thought, I've got to try this myself, see what the fuss is all about. It's a cushion foundation that is not something that you typically find here in the United States. So this is the =1 selling foundation on Amazon, which is wild. It was on sale during Prime Day, which is when I picked it up. But normally, I want to say this is right around $25 when it's not on sale. So it's not terribly expensive either. It's not drugstore price point, but it definitely isn't super high-end either. So I feel like the price point is great. So if this ends up working out, I feel like I've got myself something different and unique because it's a cushion, and it could be a new go-to of mine when I want full coverage. It could be my everyday. I may love this just as much as everybody else. It comes with a little sponge applicator, which I've seen some demos with that, and that does apply a lot of products. So I'm going to use my own personal method that I feel like is going to work best for me, and that's with a damp beauty sponge because I want to control how much I'm putting on initially. Since this does have a lot of coverage, I wanted to use something that can help diffuse the amount of product on the skin, and that's what I like beauty sponges for. So I have one dampened, ready to go, a brand new one. So when you open this up, it's actually really pretty. The presentation, really nice, different, unique, stands out on your vanity, in your drawer. When you see it, you know exactly what it is. So when you open this up, there is a mirror. I won't show you that so I don't blind you with the lens. And then there's a lift kind of lid that you can open, and inside you will see it's completely still sealed, and I have yet to use this. I wanted to capture my first impression on camera. I ordered the shade 21N Ivory, and I hope that that's going to be a good shade for me. They do have quite a bit of options to choose from. The seal has been taken off, and with these cushion foundations, if you've never seen one or used one before, it's basically a sponge that's super saturated with foundation that you can just kind of dip your brush in, a sponge, or like a puff sponge that usually comes with these types of foundations, and then you can just sort of pat it into the skin. They tend to be a little bit thinner, a little bit more lightweight. This one does look to have a more full coverage, so I hope that the shade is going to match because looking at it, it does seem like it's kind of, let me show you so I don't blind you. It looks a little bit like it could be kind of dark, but I do have a little bit of a tan going on, so I think it's going to be fine. I'm actually going to skip primer altogether, and I'm just going to go straight into this right over my moisturizer and my skincare SPF. So I'm going to take my sponge, and I'm just going to dip it one time and just do that. I don't want to dip too much because this does offer quite a bit of coverage. So that one dip, and let's start here. I have some imperfections. I have some old scarring from some breakouts. I do have a breakout here on my chin, and some sunspots and some freckles that are showing up because of sun damage and sun exposure. So we'll see if this is going to be able to cover this in and see what the coverage is going to be like. Okay, so that looks a little bit lighter than my chest and my neck, but that's okay. We're just going to continue working this in, and I'm going to keep bouncing this into this side of my face until this no longer is putting down product. Then I'm going to go back in and pick up some more. So let's do half, and let's see exactly what this does and what the coverage is like. So I feel like I don't have any more on this side, so I'm going to go back in. I'm just going to dip it once and do this part of my forehead. Go around the brows. I'm actually excited. This has so many positive reviews on Amazon, even the shorts that I've seen on social media. So I feel like if my experience is like everyone else's, this is going to be a really good foundation to wear. I do feel like the finish is really pretty and extremely skin-like. And it feels like I'm not even wearing anything on my face. So I do like that. This is the side that we just applied the 21 and Ivory. And then here's my bare skin with nothing. I like the way that looks. That looks really nice. Let's add some more. I'm going to go back in and just dip my sponge one more time. And we're going to build this up and see what this looks like, if it can build nicely on itself. Here's the side with the 2 layers sort of built up. And I do feel like it definitely added some more coverage, and it still looks very skin-like. And I hope that this is going to wear well. That's one of the things that I noticed from just those shorts that I watch, is that it wears incredibly well throughout the day. Very minimal to no breakdown and movement, which is exciting, because it's good to know that you can put something on and not have to worry that it's going to move around and you have to babysit this, touch it up throughout the day. I would prefer not to have to do that. I think a lot of us would. So this actually looks really nice. The color is starting to get a little darker, as I said, so I think this is going to be fine for me. Let's go ahead and do the same method on the other side, pushing the sponge into the cushion one time. Whoa. I feel like the first time oh my gosh, the first time I pushed it in, I was kind of scared, and this time I went a little bit more. So let's go ahead and work this in and see what this ends up looking like. All right, so this side, I do feel like it does look a little bit heavier when you apply a lot of it. I think that this side looks softer and it just looks more skin-like. Of course, you can still see my pores because I didn't put any primer. I wanted to see what this looks like just directly over my bare skin, because not everyone uses primer. So I wanted to try that method out, but this side definitely looks like it's much more full coverage. And I did take a little bit under the eyes to use as concealer, and I do feel like putting too much of this on kind of looks a little bit heavy. I'm not gonna lie. Right in through here where I have some texture, I do feel like it's kind of accentuating that, and then right around here where I have some of those like laugh lines, you can kind of see a little bit how it's sort of settling right in there. So I don't really like that. So let me just kind of try to build this up and match both sides. What do you guys think? So now that the product is on, you can tell that it's starting to get a little darker. So that's kind of somewhat of a con. I would say go a little bit lighter than you expect when you're selecting your shade. But I kind of feel like that's a bit of a con there. Something to note, that this does kind of turn a little bit darker. And I do like this method with the sponge. I think that's probably the best way to apply it, instead of going in with the little cushion, little puff sponge that was provided. I feel like that would have probably put so much on, because the texture of that applicator is much different than these sort of makeup sponges. So I think I'm going to continue doing this method next time I use this. I'm going to definitely use a sponge. I'm going to do the rest of my makeup. I'm going to do a little bit of lip balm. I'm going to do a little bit of mascara, maybe a tiny bit of blush. I was going to do bronzer, but I think I'm going to have to skip that just because it's getting a little darker as it's sitting. And then I will show you the end result with everything applied, and then I will be headed out the door. Now that I'm done applying my makeup, I'm going to go about my business and do some errands and just kind of keep an eye on this. I'm going to share with you my thoughts at the end of the day in the wear notes section. I may film clips as I'm out, depending on if I remember to do that, because I usually kind of get in this mode of let's get these errands done, and I forget to pull out the camera to sort of vlog. I wanted to jot down my first impressions and capture that on camera to kind of see what the heck this is all about, why people love this so much. And I feel like, am I missing out on something? So I hope that this was helpful to see it being applied and just kind of get my thoughts on it. There are a few little things that I would change. So I've made it to my first stop. I'm in the parking lot of Ulta. I had to get this item. It's been so long and it's back. I had to get it. So I'm about to go in and pick it up. I'm going to do a video on it. You'll see it. When you see it, you'll just know. I cannot wait. I'm like super excited to go inside and pick up my order. Anyways, back to the foundation. You may be able to see that it does look like it's 2 shades darker. I'm glad I did skip the bronzer. I was briefly in the garage before I left doing some things, and the garage is a very hot place to be, and I start to get hot and sweaty almost instantly. Okay, I'm not a big sweater where it's like beads of sweat, but I could feel that I was starting to notice that my upper lip was starting to feel a little sweaty. And obviously now with the AC in the car, that's not an issue. So what I noticed is that this foundation didn't really budge when I started to sweat. I don't know if that means it's going to stay on and look fine as I'm doing my errands and stuff, but I wanted to point that out, that I did start to sweat a little bit. Whew, that garage was intense. We're in the 90s right now, temp-wise, so the garage is probably a few degrees hotter. And so I was impressed that it doesn't look like I need to take some blotting paper and remove sweat, which sounds so gross, I know. But I just wanted to point that out. I'm going to probably share some thoughts with you after I do some groceries, do a couple more stops besides Ulta, but that's my number one right now. I need to get in there right now and get my stuff. So I will be back in a little while, but I wanted to document this really quickly to show you so you can see it in a different lighting, different camera. And so here it is again. I'm back for another check-in. This is going to be my last one. I am about to go home. I just finished at Costco. That was insane. Costco is always really busy on the weekends, and I remind myself every time not to come here, and I keep doing it to myself where I come here on Sundays or whatever on the weekends to do a grocery run, and then I realize what a mistake that was. But it's done. So I've put this foundation through a lot of things. Getting the stuff in Costco, that's an undertaking. Then it's getting to your car and playing Tetris with everything to fit it all in. And direct sunlight, I'm sweating, okay? And then to make things just a little bit better, I stopped and got gas at Costco as well, because that's where I pump my gas. And I was the very last one, or pump, I should say, the last pump station, whatever those are called. And at the last pump, direct sunlight, boom, right in the face. Ooh, I just saw a Cybertruck. My son is like obsessed with Cybertrucks. I don't know why, but I think they look hideous. Sorry. Anyways, direct sunlight, pumping gas, and I swear it almost felt like this pump was taking forever to fill up my car. And I'm like, okay. But then I reminded myself, no, I'm doing a wear test. Sun right in the face. I can't even see anything because I'm squinting so hard because it's bright. This is good. This is good for a foundation wear test, okay? I think looking in the mirror here in the car, I think the foundation is a little bit dewier than it was before, and I've been sweating. I've been outside, direct sunlight, in and out, running errands. I've gone to a couple places since the last check-in, which was the Ulta parking lot that you just saw. And I would have to say I'm impressed with how this is wearing. It's in place. It's not going anywhere. It does still look a little heavy, like around my chin and around like my smile lines, but that's because I did put too much on when we were back in the studio, so I'm not gonna knock it for that. And the color thing, that's something that I can easily fix by trying a different shade, but so far I'm very impressed with how this is staying on, and it still feels like nothing. I mean, I do feel sweaty because I've been sweating. Gross, TMI, I know, whatever, but I only feel that. I don't feel like I'm wearing makeup. I almost forgot at one point that I was even wearing any makeup. This is actually not bad. I gotta say I'm impressed. After all of this, it sounded like it was too good to be true. Stays in place, full coverage, looks beautiful, stays natural, doesn't feel like anything, doesn't look heavy. Those were all the claims, guys. Those were all the claims, and I was influenced, okay? So I wanted to jump on here really quick and kind of give you some thoughts as I have been sort of thinking about this cushion foundation. I really wanted to kind of touch base with you. You saw the initial application and some vlog clips. I hope that wasn't too crazy seeing the vlog clips in the car, but I wanted to sort of document what my experience was after doing so much. And I really did put that product through a lot of things. It was very hot that day. I did a lot of errands. I was in and out of the car a lot, doing so many things. I had a big to-do list and I wanted to tackle it all in that one day. That's why I went kid-free that day. And I was impressed with how the foundation stayed in place. I did not see it break down. at all. Hardly anything was different about it. I did notice that I was slightly dewy at the end of the day, but not to a point where if you saw that, and I wish I would have done a clip before jumping in the shower to show you. If you would have seen what it looked like, you probably wouldn't have even noticed a difference. And you would not have believed that I had done so many things. I was out in over 95-degree heat in the garage doing stuff, which is a hot place to be in anyways. You would not believe it if I showed you what my face looked like. So I was very much impressed with the wear and longevity of this. I think my only thing is the oxidation. It did oxidize quite a bit. With these studio lights here in the studio and my home lights, kitchen, bathroom, typical home lighting, it looked like it was a shade darker, but when I got outside and I looked at it in the sunlight, it does look about 2 shades, in my opinion, darker than what it should have been. And I thought if it oxidizes a little bit darker than I expect, it should hopefully blend and match the tan that I've got going on. And it didn't quite work out that way. It was something that I could tell that it was different, my face to my neck. And that's not really the ideal end result that anybody's looking for. So my biggest tip for that is to buy a shade that is lighter than you think. So if you're picking a shade and you think that's going to be it, order the shade lighter, the one that comes before that, because it does turn 1 to 2 shades darker, in my opinion. And as I mentioned, that was one of the things, I think I mentioned this in those previous clips that I filmed. That was the one thing that I noticed was the negative con for this product from a lot of different people, that it was a little bit darker than they expected. But as far as the coverage, I do feel like it gave quite a bit of coverage. And what I would do next time, I would definitely scale back the amount that I used. And I think personally for me and my skin type and my texture that I have going on, and for my pores, I definitely would pair this with a pore diffusing or pore minimizing primer in my troublesome areas. So it's very impressive. I can see why so many people love it. And as I mentioned in the start of the video, I'm so sick of seeing this thing all over the place. I'm so tired of seeing it on Instagram, social media. You know, you see it on TikTok, it's on YouTube Shorts, and I'm like, okay, enough. I gotta try it. I got to freaking try this thing and see why people love this foundation so much. And I can see there's a lot of good about it. And so I think I've covered all of the things that I would do differently and what I would recommend if you're going to try this out. Now, if you have tried this out, I would love to hear your experience. Do you love this foundation? Do you use it every day? Is it a special occasion type of thing? Are you not even interested because it's just blown up so much on social media that you're just like, nope, I don't even want to hear it? I hope that this review was helpful for those of you who are curious, still on the fence about this. Thanks for watching, for being here, for spending some of your day here with me today. Subscribe so we can do more beauty reviews in the future. You can follow me on Instagram. My username always pops up here on the screen. I hope to connect with you there and be friends there. Take care, you guys, and I will talk to you very soon. Bye-bye.